All right, so I'm going to do your guided practice with you on a video today so that when you get done with your Renaissance, you will watch your guided practice. You will need your purple book and turn to page 112. We are going to work these together. Do not tear this page out. What you're going to tear out is your page 113. You're going to tear out page 113. You'll do the independent practice, which it says independent practice right here for unit 14 on your yellow sheet, just like we've always done. Bring it to me. I will grade it. Depending on what you get right or wrong, you will go to the assessment part, okay? So right now, you're going to work these guided practice with me in your book. Do not tear this page out. Kaylee's pencil box weighs 1/3 pound, 1/3 of a pound, and her notebook weighs 4/5 of a pound. What is the total? So what is the total weight in pounds of her pencil box and notebook? Well, I'm finding total, so I know if I rip that problem, what is the total? Important information is 1/3 is the pencil box and 4/5 is the notebook. And to find total, I know that I am going to add. Okay, so I'm just going to come over here, 1/3 plus 4/5. I cannot add those like that. I have to have common denominators. So I don't really know what 5 and 3 will go into. I know 5 goes 5, and I could do factors. I could do, okay, 5, 10, 15, 20. And then I could do the factors, and I'm just going to write 5 factors of each. Then I'm going to do the factors of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Aha! 15 is a factor of both. So I'm going to make that my denominator. The lowest common denominator is going to be the smallest factor that they have in common. Okay? All right. So what did I do to 3 to make it 15? I times it by 5 because 3 times 5 is 15. So I times the top by 5. And these are multiples. I think I said factor. So the smallest multiple that they have in common, I'm multiplying here, right? So I'm counting by 5s. This is the smallest multiple they have in common is the 15. So I want to correct myself there. 5 times 3. So what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. This is going to become 12. And again, I'm adding that. So 12 plus 5 gives me 17 over 15. But because that's improper fraction, the numerator is bigger than the denominator. Check for a mixed number because you have a whole in there. So 15 comes out of that, and that gives me 1 whole. If I subtract 15 out of that top, because I'm taking the denominator out to make a whole, then I am left with 2/15. So my answer is C. Okay. Let's look at number 2. Drew ran 1.5 miles on Monday, 2 miles on Tuesday, and 2.7 miles on Wednesday. How far did he run in these 3 days? I'm going to rip that right here for you. So how far did he run? And I'm going to put the word all together because if I'm doing the 3 days, I'm doing all together, right? So 1.5 on Monday, 2 miles, which there's no decimal, so I'm going to put him there. And I'm going to put a 0 there just to make it easy on Tuesday. And 2.75. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 zeros on there to keep them nice and even on Wednesday. And those 3 days means I'm adding them up. So 1.50, 2.00, 2.75. 5 plus nothing's 5. Gives me 12, 4, 5, 6. My decimal falls down when I add, so 6.25. You might also know that this is 6 1/4 because 25 cents is 1 out of 4 quarters. So my answer, G. Do 1 more for you, or 2 more for you. And that was for number 2, so I'm going to pop that right over there. Mr. Brown bought 2 2/3 pounds of bananas and 3.5 pounds of peaches at the grocery store. How many more pounds of peaches than bananas did he buy? How many more? When you read how many more of something, it is actually not addition. You are going to what to find out the difference between them. When I'm looking for how many more of something, that is difference, and I am subtracting. So, what is the difference? What is the difference? Important information is 2 2/3 of bananas and 3.5 pounds of peaches. And I'm going to subtract to find the difference or how many more something is than something else. Okay? So here's the problem though. What number goes on top when I'm subtracting? Well, in this case, I've got to put the bigger number up top. So 3.5 minus 2 2/3. Well, I have an issue. I can't subtract a whole number, a decimal number and then a fraction. So I'm just going to come right here and I'm going to change this to a mixed number. And I know 0.5 is really 1/2. So now I just need some common denominators. Well, let me find those multiples. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So the smallest number they have in common is that 6. So I'm going to make that my denominator. What did I do to 2 to make it 6? I times it by 3. So what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. That becomes a 3. Keep my whole number. I'm subtracting here. What did I do to 3 to make it 6? I times it by 2. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. This becomes 4. Keep that 2. So now I have this number right here. 3 and 3 is 6 minus 2 and 4 6. Well, here's an issue, okay? I can't subtract the 4 from the 3, okay? So I need to take another whole out of this. So I'm going to actually, it takes 6 of these to make a whole. So 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to make this 2 and make this 9. I put a whole 6 up there. Now it's easy to subtract, right? 9 minus 4 is going to give me 5 over 6. And 2 minus 2 is going to give me 0. So the difference between them is just that 5, 6. So how I want you to find common denominators is do the first 5 factors of each of your denominators and pick the number that's the smallest that they both have in common. Number 4, Vicki wrote 2 checks, one for $12.37 and the other for $45.05. She had $125 in her account, $125.08. Before writing the checks, what is her balance now? So my question is, what is her balance? What is the balance? Or how much do I have left after I wrote those checks, right? That's my balance. Important information is that I spent, right, $12.37 and $45.05, and I had $125.08. Okay? So to figure this out, I've got to add up what I spent and then subtract it from what I had. So I got to do 2 steps. So first, I'm going to add, and I'm going to come right over here, 12.37 plus 45.05. 5 and 7 is going to give me 12. It's going to give me 4, bring down my decimal, 7 and 5. This is what I spent. That's not my answer. Don't pick that. Now I need to figure out, after I spent it, how much do I have in my bank account by subtracting what I spent. Do not fall for picking this answer. Okay? And if I'm spending money, is my bank account going to be more? No. So that's a silly answer. 8 minus 2 is 6. I can't take 4 from 0. I borrowed. This becomes 4. This becomes 10. Gives me 6. I can't take 7 from 4. I borrow. That becomes 1. This gives me 14. Gives me 7. I can't take 5 from 1. But if I borrow that, that becomes 11. And that will give me 6. So 67, 66 is my balance. Okay. Question 5. Susie kept a chart of how much time she spent playing tennis for 3 days. So time in hours, 3/2, or 2 1/4, 1 5/6. Her friend Louise played tennis for a total of 7 hours during the same time period. How much longer did Louise play than Susie? Okay, well, I know that Louise played for 7 hours. So how much longer? Well, to find the difference between two numbers, I know I'm going to subtract. The important information is I need to know what she did in her 3 days, so I really got to add 2. Okay? So 3/2, 2 1/4, 1 5/6, and then Louise equals 7 hours. So to solve this, I'm going to add up 3/2 plus 2 1/4 plus 1 5/6. Okay? Well, what is a common denominator? And I'm not, so look, this 3/2, I could make 1.5, right? I am not going to add these all together at one time. I could, but I am not. Okay? I am going to add these two and then add that one to it so that we're doing one step at a time. So I'm going to cover that up for a second. So my common denominator of 2 and 4, I could do multiples. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20. So the smallest number they both have in common is 4. So I'm going to make that my denominator. So what did I do to 2 to make it 4? I times it by 2. This becomes 6. What did I do to 4? I kept it. So here I'm going to have 2 7/4. So I took care of this whole problem over here. Now I'm going to add the 1 5/6. Common denominator between 4 and 6. I've already used this. Well, I know my multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. My multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18. When you find one that goes into it, you can stop. I know it's 12. What did I do to 6 to make it 12? I times it by 2. What did I do to the bottom? I do to the top. What did I do to 4 to make it 12? I times it by 3. What did I do to the bottom? I do to the top. So 21 plus 10 is 31/12, and 2 plus 1 is 3. I have a problem that is improper. So that means there's some holes in there. Well, 12 times 3 would give me 36, so it's not 3 of them. So I can only take 2 out of that, which would be to take 24 out of it, right? So now I take those 2, and I have 5. And then I'm left with 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, so 7/12. So this is her total up here, 5 7/12. Now I need to figure out the difference between them by subtracting the 7. Okay? Well, I'm really going to make that 6 and 12/12 because this is one whole and this is the 6 holes to make the 7 hours that she did. Well, 12 minus 7 is going to give me 5/12, and 6 minus 5 is going to give me 1. So the difference between them is the 1 5/12. That's a lot of work. So you're going to have to just trek through it. Okay, so we're going to stop there, and you are going to now rip out your independent practice. You're going to use your yellow sheet and do rips. There is just 5 questions there. Remember, I want you to do the multiples to find your common denominator, so you pick the smallest one. That will keep you from having to simplify. Okay, so follow those directions. So now tear out page 113. Get your yellow sheet, which is going to be on the corner of my desk, or actually on the presentation station, and start your rips. Make sure you put your name and your homeroom teacher's name.